Hello everyone, in regards to, here is your tutorial for making your session template, your Pro Tools number 3 assignment. So first thing you want to make sure of is you have the SSL IO update pi.pio. That's basically what you're going to import into your IO settings folder. So on a Mac, you go to your magnifying glass up there on the right hand side, type in IO settings, and you'll get a folder like that. Double click on it. You'll see everything that's in there right now. Yours should look something similar to mine. Actually, I can get rid of that. I don't need that anymore. But I am going to take the SSL IO update and drag it into there. Now it's in there. So then when you fire up Pro Tools, you will see it as an IO drop-down menu option. So you've got that in your IO settings folder. Open up Pro Tools, and you'll create a new session with the parameters on, by the way, here's your sheet you should have in front of you with all the steps. I recommend having this printed out, and so you can make notes with the space in between each item there. So you're going to call it first name, last name, underscore between those, session template, and your group number. I'll be group 4. And you want AIFF. Hold on a second. Make it wave. 24-bit. Sample rate 96. And then the IO settings, you want to click on that SSL IO update. Make sure you're interleaved and you're saving to your desktop. And create your session. Okay, now you get a blank session, and you're going to create everything that you need from it. So that took care of the first 2 steps. Now we're on step number 3 on that sheet. Create your tracks and name them in caps. So have your caps lock on, so everything you type will just be easy to see. Now, of course, it's going to be your the instrumentation of your ensemble in the correct track order. So if you have drums, drums first, bass, then piano. If you have both piano and guitar, I would put piano before your guitar. If you have no piano, then your chordal instrument follows your bass, and then solo instruments. Everything else in your ensemble follows after that. So create new tracks, Shift Command N for new tracks. I'm going to say there's going to be 8 drum tracks. I'm going to do an acoustic bass, 2 more tracks there. And let's have a piano. I'm just going to have piano and sax. So I'll just make a quartet. So that would be 8, 10, 12, 13 mono tracks. Now I also recommend having a master fader. So you're going to hit Shift Command N again and choose one stereo master fader. Now you can also change these boxes manually by, if you were holding down the command key and you hit your arrow buttons left and right, you can control that first box left and right. I want a stereo and master fader. If the holding down command and then going up and down, you get different types of faders. Different types of tracks. So that's all I need. I'm going to hit create. Now I've got all my tracks there. I can't see them all, but if I hold down Control Option and the arrow down, that compresses everything vertically. Control Option, arrow down. Control Option, arrow up to expand. So I can see them all now. They're all highlighted, but if I double click on the first one, I can start naming them. I have my caps lock enabled, so I'm just going to go kick. Now you could go OK, and then click on your second track and do that, but You can toggle from track to track by holding down the command key and going arrow right. That takes you to the next track. All right, so go snare, command, arrow to the right, hi-hat, and so on. Overhead left, overhead right. Now we're into bass DI, bass mic, piano left, piano right, and saxophone, and I'm going to call it master fader. Okay, now you've got all your tracks in order, so that takes care of number 3. Now number 4, under view, go up to your view drop down, go into under edit window views, you want to enable comments. Now you're going to see that this box right here opens up. Now click inside that box. You can start typing information that you're going to want to include in your session, and that way when you come back to this session weeks, months, years later, information on how that session, you know what microphone you used, what pre you used, things that are it's information to just to be able to access. So these comment boxes are important. First thing I like to put in there is the name of your instrumentalist. Well, my drummer's name is Andy, and Andy likes to play fours. Fours Andy. And then I'm going to put the microphone that I'm going to be using for the kick drum, the D112. And then that's going to go into input 1. So I'm going to put ISO 1 dash going to SSL 1. Now what that mapping is because you're using the ISO booth if you're in group 2 for the drums, that's how you're going to patch it in the studio. So after you put in that patch bay mapping, then put in any other pertinent information. If there's any selectables on the microphone, if you need phantom power, what cue they're on, which drums are going to be using in that booth, cue B, and that's true for anyone that's going to be in the drum ISO booth. You'd put them on QB, and then everyone in the main room, including the isolation booth next to the main room in the back there, are all on QA. Okay, so that's enough information for the first, and you can use your tab button to go to the second box. And we're going to be using SM57, and that's going to go from ISO 2 into SSL 2, the pre you're going to be using. So just put space there to be consistent. And yeah, QB. And that's all about all the information we need on that. Go to the next one. For a hi-hat, you're going to be using the AKG 451, which is ISO 3 going into SSL 3. Now that has got some selectables on it. You want the -10 dB pad. You want to turn your caps lock off for the dB, and 150 hertz low end roll off, and QB, and so on. And you're going to do this for all of your each one of your inputs, each one of your microphones, each one of your DIs, bass DI. We're going to use the red DI. That does not need phantom power, but if you had a Countryman, it does need phantom power. So you guys using Countrymans for your guitarist, and also if you got using the stereo Countryman DI for synthesizer. What was my bass player's name? Let's say it's Geddy Lee from Rush. Geddy using the Reddy, and they're going to be on QA and so forth. And you do this for all your comment boxes, all pertinent information that you want to include, and the list is there on your sheet. The person's name, the preamp you're using, the microphone you're using, DI, the input information, including and so maybe you want to include the mapping that's going on in your from the snake. So the Reddy is going into the A snake using input. It could be input 1, which is going to go into SSL 9, which is the A panel 9 input. So snake 1 plugs into A9, which automatically links you to the SSL 9 preamp, because that's the way the A panel in the main room is hardwired. So you do that for all of your instruments, and that takes care of number 4. Now toggling over, we're in our edit window, but toggle to the mix window using command equals. Oh, gotta hit return before I can do that. All right, so now I have my mix window, and you assign all your pre's, the inputs and outputs. Now the quick key for going symmetrical, so we're going to go basically SSL1 into SSL1 and so forth. I think it's Control Option 1. Nope, it's going to be Option Command 1. And that, see how that changes to SSL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, all the way to 13. So you do that same thing with your output. Option Command, and if you're on a PC, it's Option Control. And start with number 1. And it will line them up symmetrically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 to 10, 11 to 11. That's the way it's going to go. But your output is going to be analog 1 and 2 on the master fader. So make sure that's analog 1 and 2 on the master fader, and everything else is correct. Notice that it automatically, the comments box shows up in your mix window. So, and if you were to update anything here, you know, it's going to show up when you go back to your edit window. It automatically updated over there. So get rid of that. You fill in your information and make sure that you get it all in there. So that takes care of number 5. Number 6, finally, you can make some cosmetic choices. So if you double click on the color, little color bar on the left hand side of the track, you get this little color template, and everything that's highlighted will change to the color that you choose. So what I like to do is do the different instruments by color. So let me click out of that and deselect everything here. Option click. Now I want to make my drums all the same color. So we shift click on those, click on the first one, shift click on the last one. Now you've got these highlighted. Now when we double click on the color bar, now you can make that, you know, the color that you want. Okay, yeah, let's make it a nice purple. And you've got these little, I like these little saturation things to make it as bright. Now there's a brightness bar. Just make it the color that you want, and keep in mind you can always change this but it's something that you're going to be staring at for a lot of hours, so make it pleasing to your eyes. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the base. Base, I think I want to make red. Oh, I'll make base make that same red there. Okay, let's make sure they're the same. Okay, yeah, like that. All right, piano left and right. Piano, let's make that a nice green there. Good. And then sax, I kind of like that blue. We could go, let's try yellow. Yeah, like that too. And then keep our master fader blue. I kind of like that. I'm going to keep it like that. You customize it the way you like. There's also, you can make the backing color of the tracks colored too, but I think it's once you get tracks in there that are with waveforms, that is really all the color that you need and you want to worry about. Now, there's a lot of things up here that automatically appear. These rulers, for me, I don't need all of that. I'm going to take away time code and samples and tempo and meter. I do want to leave markers. Remember, markers are when you hit your return on your numeric keyboard, you get this little memory location, where there was a mistake, and boom, you can notify, you can place it there. Or if it's a part of a song that it's the bass solo, you can label things so you can toggle around in your song with ease because you know where everything's located. If you are done with that, you want to move it around, you just click and drag around. If you want to get rid of it, you simply drag it down, turns it into a trash box, let go, and it's gone. So that is basically it. You will turn in this session template, and I will, the morning of your session, pull everyone's up and pick the one I like the best, and we will use that for everybody's. And of course, you can customize with your own colors later if you like. So hope that helps and is clear to you, and looking forward to seeing your templates and getting those sessions happening.